Hi everyone, I am 31 years old and I was diagnosed with stage 2B cervical cancer, and this is video number 2. Hi everyone, I just kind of wanted to update you as far as how my radiation is going and my chemo is going, and I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about my GoFundMe, and yeah, so I have had probably about, I would say, 9 radiations so far and 2 chemotherapies. I have a total of 27 radiations and a total of 6 chemotherapies. I just wanted to update you guys a little bit on how, or educate you guys on what a day looks like as far as radiation goes and what my day looks like as far as chemo goes. So as far as radiation can be a little bit tricky since my tumor is in my cervix. So as far as radiation, I unfortunately have to make sure that my bladder is full and my colon is completely empty right before I get my radiation. The reason for that is we want to make sure my bladder is full so that my bladder does not get radiated, and then we also want to make sure my colon is empty because if not, it pushes on my uterus and then therefore my colon gets radiated. So it can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes I get in and out 5 minutes, and then there's some days that I'm there for 3 hours. So before they give me any type of radiation, they usually do a quick scan to make sure everything looks good as far as my bladder and my colon. If everything doesn't look good, then unfortunately I have to stick around and refill my bladder and empty my colon. As far as the radiation goes, I have a specific mold that fits around my legs, so when I lay down on the table, I don't move. So I stick my feet in the mold, lay down, and then they have a laser beam that comes down on me, and they shift me back and forth until basically I fit exactly aligned where they want to shoot the radiation. I do have 4, I wouldn't say completely permanent, but permanent for now, markings on my abdomen that kind of help them align where I should be each time that I get radiation. So once they align me on the table, the technicians leave, and they have this huge, really thick door that closes. I'm the only one in there. So I lay down on the table, and usually there's a red light that flashes that tells me that the generator is going to come on. So the generator clicks on, and then it kind of looks a little bit like shaped like a Tic Tac. So it's kind of round, comes down on my body, and then it circulates around me. So the actual radiation portion itself takes probably about 5 minutes, but the actual prepping is what takes so long. I know there's usually a lot of misunderstandings with radiation. I am not radioactive after I get radiation, nor can I feel the radiation actually happening. There are side effects as far as drying out my skin and some bleeding. Knock on wood, I haven't had any type of actual side effects from the radiation so far, so that's been great. That's kind of my day of radiation. That's usually Monday through Friday. And then on Friday is my longer days where I get chemo. Chemo is in the same building. So I get radiation first. Excuse me. And then I usually walk over to the chemo area. My chemo isn't a short day. It's usually chemo is between 5.5 hours, so it's a very long day. As far as chemo goes, usually what happens is I sit down check in. They call me back. They take about 5 to 6 tubes of blood. They run my blood, and then I go in with the oncologist, and he goes over my blood work. If there's any type of anything that kind of looks wrong, or there's anything that's slightly off, I cannot get chemo that day. So we'll go over my weight, and we'll go over my chemo and any side effects I'm having, and go over my blood work. If everything looks good, then they'll go ahead and move forward and call me back into the chemo area. The chemo area isn't very much fun. It's usually a bunch of recliners set up, and people are sitting in them and just getting chemo. A lot of people sleep through it. It usually makes you pretty groggy. So I have a chemo nurse that is set up just for me. So she comes over with her cart, and I am what you called a hard stick. So my veins are really, really small, really petite, kind of like in a child. So sometimes it makes it, well, all the time, it makes it really difficult for them to find my veins. So there's many times where they'll stick me and they'll have to kind of move it around. It's pretty painful, or they'll have to remove the needle and find another vein. So from there, once they find a vein, they hook me up to a bag, and the bag is usually just a solution of water to hydrate, and then that usually takes about 40 minutes. And then I usually get another bag that's my nausea bag. That's about 40 minutes. And then I get this huge bag of chemotherapy that usually takes between 3 and 3.5 hours. And then we do one more bag of the water solution to make sure I'm hydrated before I go home. As far as the side effects go, luckily, as you can see, I haven't lost any hair. Yay! Yet. Some people don't, some people do, so we'll see what happens with that. Usually you don't throw up anymore as far as when you get chemo, just because their nausea medication is pretty good. So I haven't had any issues with throwing up. I have had issues more with nausea and the smell of things, and not really the taste of food, but there's some foods where it's just too much for me. Like it's just too strong. Like a lot of sweet things are just too sweet. As far as that goes. And as far as chemo, it doesn't really hit you right after when you go home. It usually progresses. So the first day I have chemo, and then the 2 days after I'm usually okay, and then usually the third day it just hits you. And then usually from there I'm pretty much in bed for, I'd probably say, a solid 2 to 2.5 days, and then I recuperate. I haven't really lost any weight, which is great as well. The number one thing that the dietitian tells people is just eat what you want. Don't restrict yourself. Don't try to just eat vegetables. Just eat whatever your body wants. The chemo does block my receptors for starches and for sugars. So usually the third day after, when I'm usually down and in bed and just don't feel good, usually I crave high starchy, sometimes sweet, but usually starchy foods like potatoes and mashed potatoes and sandwiches and those type of things. So yeah, that's a little bit about, I just wanted to educate you on radiation and chemo. I wanted to go ahead and move forward and kind of talk about my GoFundMe and my other fundraisers that people have been so gracious to help me with. Besides the GoFundMe, I've had a couple other consultants from different companies come forward and help me with my medical expenses. So I've had a LuLaRoe, I've had a paparazzi jewelry, and I've also had two really good friends. Their family have done a taco plate fundraiser for us as well. I just kind of want to thank everyone that has supported us so far. My husband and I are super super blessed to have been given so much support and so much encouragement. It's been really great. We just wanted to be a little realistic as far as I guess financially how things are going. We're actually doing quite well. I wouldn't say we're rich from our fundraisers, because we're definitely not. We still have a long ways to go as far as paying off expenses. Just a little bit of recap. Obviously, we got married in June. We decided to pay for our own wedding, and then on top of that, I have student loans, and then now we have stuff financially for my medical bills. So as far as now, it's been great. As far as the help, we've been able to have fresh, fruits and vegetables, and have hot meals at night. We've also had been able to afford gas, get back and forth. One of us got into a little bit of a car trouble, so that has helped out tremendously, your guys' donations. So that's that. We still, obviously, if you would like to donate money or donate your time, we would still really appreciate that. Unfortunately, I will not be done with my radiations or my any of my treatments until after January, which means, unfortunately, I will have a new deductible at that time. So we will be paying another out-of-pocket maximum amount. So a lot of your guys' donations not only has gone towards money, food, transportation, but it's also gone towards my health insurance. Obviously, life goes on, and I still have to pay my health insurance every month. I usually give them a check at the beginning of each month, my job, so they can pay my health insurance. So you guys have made that possible. There would be no way I would be able to do it without you guys, without your donations. Unfortunately, my disability does not pay 100% of all my bills. So your donations have been a huge blessing in that matter, paying those high health medical expenses. So I just want to thank everyone so far that has given us so much support. We do still have the GoFundMe page up, so if you'd like to donate, and if you would like to be anonymous, we are on social media, so just go ahead and private message us and we can communicate. If you feel like you can't donate, I completely 100 understand. It is Christmas. I know a lot of you guys have families to take care of, support, and I also know that tax season is coming up. Christmas time and all the holidays can be a little bit tougher. So we would love to hear from you guys. We'd love the positive encouragement, and we'd also love for you guys to visit if you could. We do have a guest room and a guest bathroom, and we would love to see you guys, even if it was just for a day. So, anyways, I thank all of you who have supported so far, and I will go ahead and update you guys in a couple weeks here, probably when I'm done with my external radiation. Thank you.